Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe deeply. Now imagine, just for a second, that something extraordinary is already on its way to you, not because you earned it or struggled for it, but because it's yours by divine inheritance. Act as if God has a great surprise for you, because He does. Not in some distant future, not in a dream you barely believe in, but right now, in this very moment, that surprise is making its way into form. The minute you feel it as real, when you taste its sweetness in your imagination, you have claimed it. God doesn't whisper, maybe. He declares it is done, and so must you. Walk today, not as someone hoping for change, but as someone already changed. Speak, think, and feel as though the blessing is already behind your door, because it is. Every great gift begins invisibly in the silence of consciousness. You see, the world will always reflect the contents of your inner state. You cannot wait for the outer to confirm the inner. The law does not work that way. You decide within, and the world obeys. The gratitude becomes the signal. When you give thanks as if it has already happened, you tune into the frequency of the gift. That's faith. That's power. You don't need to know how it will come. You don't need to force, beg, or chase. You simply need to trust the unseen hand of God, which has already written the perfect ending to your story. And what looks like delay is never denial. It's a redirection to something far greater than you imagined. Remember, your life is always unfolding in favor of your highest good. So live today with a knowing smile. Move through your moments like someone with a secret, because you do have one. God has a great surprise for you, and your only task is to prepare the space in your heart to receive it. Let your assumption be your prayer. Let your joy be the proof. Let your faith be louder than your fears. Act as if the surprise is already yours, because in truth it already is. God's surprises are not waiting in some far-off place or some distant future. They are concealed in this very moment, right here, right now. The present isn't empty. It's pregnant with the miraculous. But to the mind that rushes or doubts, it appears ordinary. That's the great mystery. The divine doesn't arrive with noise or fanfare. It slips into your life through the unnoticed, the still, the now. Most people overlook the moment because they're too busy scanning the horizon, thinking their blessing is far away. But what if it's already here, simply waiting for your awareness to catch up? Every breath you take carries the seed of possibility. Every second is a doorway to something greater. Yet to access it, you must become still enough, aware enough to feel what's already moving beneath the surface. The surprise isn't being created, it's being revealed. And that revelation begins the moment you shift your attention from what's missing to what's quietly unfolding. What you call a delay is often just divine surprise, dressed in silence, asking only to be seen through the eyes of faith. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to mentally and emotionally occupy the state of already having what you desire. It is not about daydreaming or hoping, but about entering into the reality of your desire so completely that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. This act requires imagination, yes, but even more, it requires belief in the unseen as the only truth that matters. You don't need to wait for something to happen to feel the way you want to feel. You can feel successful before the evidence appears. You can feel loved, wealthy, healthy, chosen, celebrated before a single thing changes around you. That's the secret. Emotion is the language of the soul. And when you feel from the end, you are sending a clear, powerful signal that this state is now your reality. The mind may try to argue, pointing out all the contradictions in the physical world. But the inner world is the cause, not the effect. By sustaining the inner feeling, by resting in the joy, peace, or confidence of the wish fulfilled, you are aligning with the version of yourself who already has it. You are shifting identity, and once that inner identity is secured, the world around you begins to conform. There is no need to force or manipulate the outer world. The assumption itself is the creative act. Feel it so vividly, so naturally, that it becomes automatic until your body believes it's already true, and your actions begin to reflect that inner conviction without effort or strain. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror, a perfect reflection of your inner state, what you hold in consciousness. Your dominant beliefs, feelings, and assumptions inevitably expresses itself in form. Most people try to change the reflection without ever touching the image that casts it. They rearrange circumstances, push against conditions, and fight the shadows, never realizing the source is within. Your thoughts are seeds. Your feelings are the water. Your assumptions are the sunlight. Together they shape the landscape of your experience. Every event, every encounter, every twist in your journey is first born in the quiet chambers of your imagination. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are constantly projecting your inner world onto the screen of life. If you see limitation, it is because somewhere within, limitation has been accepted as real. If you witness abundance, love, or peace, it is because those qualities have taken root in your consciousness. Reality bends not to what you want or wish for casually, but to what you accept as true. The moment you change your internal dialogue, the moment you shift your emotional tone, the outer world has no choice but to follow. It may not respond instantly, but it will respond faithfully. The world is never late, only exact. It echoes your innermost convictions, your silent agreements with life. This is why true transformation doesn't begin with action, it begins with awareness. When you understand that your world is self-created, you stop blaming, stop waiting, and begin to create deliberately from within. Gratitude before evidence is the mark of unwavering faith. It is the bold decision to thank life for a gift that has not yet arrived in form, but is already yours in spirit. Most people wait to feel grateful until they can touch, see, or measure something. But true creative power lies in reversing that order, feeling the gratitude first before any physical sign appears. When you express gratitude in advance, you are declaring that what you desire is already a fact in the unseen. You are aligning yourself with the outcome rather than the absence. Gratitude becomes a bridge between the invisible and the visible. It tunes your mind to the frequency of fulfillment and abundance, and from that place, your world must conform. This kind of gratitude is not just an emotion. It's a state of being. It's a quiet confidence that something beautiful is unfolding, even if you can't yet see how. It carries no desperation, no pleading, no question of worthiness. It is the calm knowing that the universe is already moving, already working, already delivering. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently, not because anything outside has changed, but because you've changed your internal atmosphere. And in that inner shift, the world begins to soften, to yield, to respond. Gratitude before evidence is the language of someone who knows that the unseen is more real than the seen, that what's coming is already here in essence, waiting only for your acknowledgement. Faith is the bridge that carries you from what is visible to what is real. It is the invisible thread connecting the life you know with the life you've imagined. Without it, you remain confined to appearances, reacting to what your senses report. But faith invites you to see beyond, to step into a reality that your heart knows, even if your eyes do not yet confirm it. It is not passive belief. It is not wishful thinking. Faith is an inner certainty, a quiet authority that refuses to be swayed by time, by delay, or by opposition. It is the bold acceptance that what you have imagined already exists in the unseen and is moving toward you even now. Faith does not wait for proof. It creates the proof. It walks forward when there's no visible path, trusting that the way will appear. It speaks from the end, acts from the end, lives from the end, knowing that the end is already written and fulfilled. The world may call this irrational, but in truth, it is the highest form of reason, to trust the intelligence that orchestrates all things. Faith stabilizes you in the midst of uncertainty. It lifts you above fear, doubt, and logic. It allows you to feel joy before the manifestation, to rest before the outcome, to rejoice before the result. It is not concerned with the mechanics or the timing. Faith deals only with the reality of the outcome and holds to it no matter what the outer world says. The moment you decide what you want, the only true step left is to declare it is done. Not I hope, not I wish, not maybe one day, but a quiet inner certainty that what you desire has already been accomplished in the unseen. The need to figure out how it will happen is what disrupts this process. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence that orchestrates all things perfectly. Your job is not to control the process, but to embody the result. The mind will naturally try to calculate, to strategize, to interfere. It wants steps, logic, and evidence. But manifestation does not unfold according to logic. It bends to belief. The more you obsess over how it will come, the more you introduce doubt, limitation, and resistance. The how implies uncertainty. The it is done implies knowing. Letting go of the how is not laziness. It is spiritual mastery. It means trusting that the same power that gave you the desire has already prepared its fulfillment. The form, the timing, the sequence, the people, all of it is handled. You are not required to assemble the parts, only to live in the feeling that it's already complete. When you rest in the state of completion, life begins to shape itself around your assumption. Ideas come, doors open, people appear, but they are not forced. They flow. The doing becomes inspired rather than efforted. You no longer chase the outcome. You magnetize it by your inner conviction. That is the art of surrender. Not to give up the desire, but to give up control over how it will be delivered. Every experience you go through, every delay, every unexpected turn is shaping you for something greater than what you currently understand. Even in moments that feel still or confusing, a deeper order is at work. An invisible intelligence arranging the pieces of your life with precision. You may not see it in the moment, but nothing is wasted. No season is without purpose. What feels like waiting is often divine preparation in disguise. There are qualities that must be awakened within you before the next chapter can unfold. Patience, clarity, strength, trust. These qualities aren't learned through ease. They are cultivated in the quiet, in the pressure, in the spaces where nothing seems to be happening. Yet in truth, everything is happening beneath the surface. You are being stretched, expanded, refined, not punished, not overlooked. Life is not denying you. It is preparing you to meet something that matches the fullness of who you are becoming. There are doors you have not seen yet, simply because the version of you required to walk through them is still in formation. And just as the seed must stay in the dark before it breaks through the soil, your breakthrough is being nurtured in silence. When you understand that you are always being prepared, you stop resisting the process. You stop judging your timeline. You begin to trust that even the delays are intelligent. Even the detours are divine. Nothing is random. Everything is connected to something greater. Your imagination is not a daydream, a distraction, or a mental escape. It is the sacred voice of the divine speaking through you. It is the language of creation, the whisper of what is possible, calling you to see beyond what is and touch what could be. Every image that rises in your mind with feeling and clarity is not just fantasy. It is revelation. It is guidance. It is a preview of your potential reality. Imagination is the first act of creation. Before anything appears in your world, it must first be formed in the unseen. When you imagine something vividly and consistently, You are giving it life, feeding it with attention, wrapping it in energy. This is not just play. It is prayer. It is communion with the unseen, the divine impulse shaping itself through your consciousness. The visions that stir your heart, that appear quietly in your mind and leave you feeling moved, excited, or at peace, these are not random. They are messages. They are invitations. They are the divine voice saying, this too is yours if you dare to believe it. When you dismiss your imagination, you silence the very part of yourself that speaks the language of miracles. But when you honor it, when you give it space, emotion, and belief, you unlock doors that logic could never open. The mind may ask for evidence, but imagination provides something even greater: vision. It shows you what can be, even when the world has not yet caught up. It is the sacred tool by which you shape your reality from within. So now, as you stand at the threshold of your own unfolding, remember this: you are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle becoming visible. Act as if God has already gone before you, preparing something beautiful, something greater than you've dared to imagine. Walk with the assurance that the surprise is not coming. It is here, hidden in the now, waiting for your recognition. Your consciousness is the foundation upon which all experience is built. It is the true reality, the only reality that holds creative power. What you believe, what you feel, what you accept as true inside your mind and heart shapes every detail of your outer world. The physical circumstances around you are like shadows cast by the light of your inner state. They have no independent power of their own. Many spend their lives reacting to external events, believing that the world outside controls their fate. But this is an illusion. The outer world is fluid, responsive, and ever-changing, precisely because it is shaped by the solid, immovable core of your consciousness. When you change your inner world, the outer world cannot help but follow. Your thoughts, emotions, and assumptions form the blueprint for your life. It is here, in the silent, invisible place of consciousness, that true transformation happens. To awaken to this truth is to reclaim your power, to stop giving authority to temporary conditions, and to start directing your attention deliberately. This is why relentless focus on your inner vision matters. When distractions arise, when doubt tries to pull you away, return to the knowing that your consciousness is the soil in which your future grows. Nurture it with faith, with feeling, with unwavering belief. For as you cultivate your inner world, the outer world will reflect your new reality with perfect fidelity. Resistance is often the quiet signal that you are on the verge of something great. When doubt, fear, or discomfort rise within you, it usually means that your inner world is shifting, and that what you desire is pushing against old beliefs and patterns trying to hold you back. This resistance is not a sign to stop or turn away. It is an invitation to move forward with greater trust. The mind and emotions will resist what feels unfamiliar or uncertain, especially when you step into a new identity, a new reality that hasn't yet been fully accepted. This discomfort is like the pressure before a diamond is formed. Necessary, intense, but temporary. It means your old self is giving way to your new self. Rather than fight the resistance, acknowledge it. Welcome it as proof that you are close to a breakthrough. Lean into it with courage, knowing that beyond this barrier lies the manifestation you have imagined. Resistance is often the last test of faith, the final challenge before your surprise reveals itself. When you hold steady in the face of resistance, when you refuse to let fear dictate your path, you are aligning with the unstoppable current of creation. The tension will ease and the world will begin to yield, reflecting the powerful new belief you have dared to hold. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Language is not merely communication, it is creation. When you speak, you are broadcasting your inner reality to the world, shaping your experience through the vibration of your words. To speak only what you wish to experience means guarding your speech carefully, choosing phrases that align with your desires rather than your doubts or fears. If you complain, express lack, or voice worry, you reinforce those very states within yourself and invite them to grow. Conversely, when you affirm joy, success, love, and peace, you water the garden of your inner world and call those realities into being. The universe listens not just to your thoughts, but to the tone and intention behind your words. This is why the practice of mindful speech is so powerful. When you declare your assumptions confidently and positively, you are sending a clear message to your subconscious mind and to the creative forces around you. Your words become declarations of faith, markers of your inner conviction. By speaking only what you wish to experience, you become a conscious co-creator of your reality. You refuse to give energy to the old stories or limiting beliefs, and instead craft a narrative of possibility, fulfillment, and divine surprise. Your speech becomes the soundtrack of your new life unfolding. Living from the end is to step out of the constraints of time and into the eternal now, where all things coexist as already accomplished. When you act as if your desire has been fulfilled, you release yourself from the anxious waiting and endless pushing that time often demands. Time, with its past and future, is a mental construct that can trap you in expectation or regret. But living from the end places you beyond that cycle. In this state, you no longer look forward to a future event. Instead, you live in the reality where the event has already taken place. You feel the emotions, embody the identity, and think the thoughts of the fulfilled version of yourself. This shifts your vibration completely, aligning you with the cause rather than the effect. Because time no longer governs your experience, you begin to notice how quickly circumstances change. The delay you once feared dissolves. The world begins to respond instantly to your inner state. Living from the end is living from a place of completion. And from completion flows peace, confidence, and creative power. You become a magnet for your desires, drawing them effortlessly as you embody the reality they represent. The future collapses into the present, and you discover that what you seek is not somewhere out there, but here, now, already yours to claim. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let your inner world lead the way. Be grateful before the evidence. Trust the unseen. Release the how. Know that every step, every pause, every twist is preparation for more. And above all, listen closely to your imagination, for it is the divine voice calling you home to what's already yours. Thank you for opening your heart, for walking this path of faith, and for daring to believe in more. The surprise is on its way. Live like it's already arrived.